And we don't know it when we are still acting out in doubt and grief and feeling undisturbed and unsafe. And our ego mind keeps those thoughts hidden from us so that we can't question it, so that we can't bring reason to it, and that we can't bring it to the light, right? But if we are aware of this, that our mind does this and buries these things on us, then we can be willing to deal with what we need to deal with right now. And bit by bit, we will release the unwanted thoughts, the unwanted beliefs, the meaningless thoughts and beliefs, and get to the core of our problems through more mind training, right? So basically, it's easy for us to keep trapped in this mind and believe it to be true, but it is also, just a defense mechanism of the mind. So it can be easily healed and let go of if we let it. So it says, heaven is chosen consciously. The choice cannot be made until alternatives are accurately seen and understood. All that is veiled in shadows must be raised to understanding, to be judged again, this time with heaven's help. And all mistakes in judgment which the mind had made before are open to correction as the truth dismisses them as causeless. So this is exactly what it's saying here. We must choose heaven consciously. So if we choose, that's it. I want heaven. I'm done with freaking hell. I'm done. I am done. And I don't know what heaven is because apparently I'm caught in this mind bubble. So this is when we allow ourselves to make the choice that heaven is what we truly want. And that means all of our thoughts and all of our beliefs must be, accurately seen and understood. So therefore, with heaven's help, because this is what we call upon to bring heaven here, to see heaven as it truly is, we call upon the divine, right? And through the divine's help, we are shown all of our mistakes in judgment, everything that needs to be corrected. And we bring these illusions to truth within our own mind because we have the willingness to live as heaven, to see heaven, to be who we really are. And now, when we give our mind open to this experience, it happens with us, from the divine to us, not the other way around, because we don't know, remember, in this mind of ego. We don't know. But we have all of the help around us because we are souls. We are part of this world that you cannot see with our eyes, and therefore we can bring this world that we cannot see with our physical eyes here to this world to help us. The conscious choice of heaven is as sure as the ending of fear and hell, when it is raised from its protective shield of unawareness and is brought to the light. So we can take our thoughts of fear and hell to the light, and it gets transmuted and changed, and we get to actually see it through understanding, right, instead of not knowing. Who can decide between the clearly seen and the unrecognized? Yet who can fail to make a choice between alternatives when only one is seen as valuable and the other as a wholly worthless thing, a but imagined source of guilt and pain? And that's the thing, when we experience pain and guilt, it's from the past. We carry it with us, but we don't have to. And therefore, when we hold these things from the past with us now, it's blocking us from seeing truly. It says, who hesitates to make a choice like this between heaven and hell? And shall we hesitate to choose today? Do you hesitate to choose today? Do you hesitate to actually live life in perfect harmony and perfect peace and perfect compassion and joy and abundance in all of its forms? It is a choice that we make to see truly. We recognize that we've been mistaking this whole time. We've been thinking through the mind of separation. We've been caught in this world of duality, no matter how much we've tried to get out of it, and we haven't, but that's okay. But now is the time when we can actually make that choice to choose heaven consciously and allow all of our thoughts to be brought to the light, to be brought to truth, so that we may now understand truly. It says here, we make the choice for heaven as we wake and spend minutes making sure that we have made one decision that is sane. And this one decision is to welcome heaven into our minds and to remember what heaven is, to remember who we really are. As we make the decision, as we make that choice, as we make that what we want to focus on, our world brings it to us. All the ways to learn, all the ways to heal, all the people that we're supposed to be with, they come to us. So don't worry about how all that happens. The how isn't up to us. The choice is up to us. The how is not up to us. Okay? We recognize we make a conscious choice between what has existed, but between what has we recognize we make a conscious choice between what has existence and what has nothing but an appearance of truth. Okay, so, yeah. It's pseudo-being brought to what is real, as flimsy and transparent in the light. It holds no terror now. For what you made enormous, vengeful, pitiless, and hate, demands obscurity for fear to be invested there. Now it is recognized as but a foolish, trivial mistake. And that is what we recognize, is that when we desire heaven and perfect love, and to know who we are beyond anything else, than the truths that are given us. When we begin to actually look at our thoughts and our thought system and see what we've created there for ourselves to believe in, then just as like Jesus was saying here, we start to recognize it as foolish and a trivial mistake. It's a mistake of the mind that is opposite of God. It is a mistake believing that we can be separate from God. And all of these things come to perfect awareness when we are open to experience it as true. And now, for me, for instance, when I look at my ego thoughts or hear my ego mind, because he's still there, he provides me with these thoughts, he tells me things, tries to get me to believe them, I laugh. People, I laugh. It's so funny to me. You know, this ego, little separate mind who believes it is my body and cares what other people think about her, that's not who I am. Who I am is a perfect child of God, unharmable, perfect, nothing is lacking. I have everything, so joyous and happy, perfect, oh my God. And I know this to be true because I've remembered within myself. And therefore, this is exactly who all of you are as well. And that is all that I talk to. There's nothing else. Any of these flimsy thoughts or questions or what ifs. I completely look past that, as we all can, to see the light and the truth that is within us all. So to conclude this last paragraph here. Before we close our eyes and sleep tonight, we reaffirm the choice that we have made each hour in between. And now we give the last 5 minutes of our waking day to the decision with which we awoke. As every hour passed, we have declared our choice again in a brief, quiet time devoted to maintaining sanity. And while we close the day with this, acknowledging we chose but what we want. And this is a prayer, everybody. Heaven is the decision I must make. I make it now and will not change my mind, because it is the only thing I want. That's it, my friends. That's it, my friends. When we recognize that heaven is all that we want, it is ours, because it's who we are. And then we are shown every day the truth of that, how to let go of everything that is not that. And we begin on our path to perfect peace. Because it's who we are. It's a natural state. It's, we don't have to fight. It really doesn't have to be hard. Truth is very, very simple. We are God's children. We are creators like Him, and therefore can create, have, do, and be anything in this world. The only thing is it has to be in alignment with God. What does God wish? Perfect happiness, perfect peace, perfect love, perfect joy, perfect abundance. All of this stuff is ours because it is what God is, and we are in God. Therefore, it has to be truth. It has to be reality, and it is. And I know this with absolute certainty and conviction because my life experiences it every single moment of every single day. And I've watched the evolution from the beginning when I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in really the universe. I didn't believe in anything. But I was so open-minded and only wanted to live a life filled with love. And I wanted to know who I am beyond anything else. And I wanted heaven here on earth for all of us to share. I knew this, but that is all that I knew. I didn't know how I was going to get here. I didn't know what I had to do. I didn't know what I had to learn. I didn't know who I had to meet. But the how, again, doesn't matter. As long as you have the willingness to live like heaven on earth. That is all that matters. And we can, because heaven is within us. And we hear this from so many sages and gurus and leaders and teachers, like, the power is yours, look within, your thoughts determine your destiny, whatever. All of the religions share the same motives, like we have God within us, right? We are children of God. Let your light shine. If it's not shining and life isn't easy and life isn't perfect, it's because you're standing in your own way. Take responsibility for it. That's okay. Declare to yourself morning, day, and night, I only want heaven. Heaven is the decision I must make, and I make no other choice because this is all that I want. We don't need to make a choice of our having a thin body, making more money, having a relationship, going to get new clothes. These are not the decisions we want to be making. Our happiness does not come from outside of there. And if we think that those are liable choices to be making, then we are still keeping ourselves locked into the ego mind. You better believe that when we choose heaven as all that we want, everything that was just stated is ours and comes to us with perfect ease. We don't go seeking for it, we don't go looking for it, but it comes to us in perfect time. And it is much more perfect than we could have ever imagined in our little small mind. God knows, trust me. God knows. So much more than we could ever think. And it's beautiful, and I'm so grateful. And I know that we can all live like I do. And it takes dedication, it takes responsibility, and it takes a willingness. It really, really does. But then as we have that, everything else falls into place. We are guided. The divine is here. Angels and spirit guides and whatever you want to call it, all these things that people believe in, they're around, they really are. And we must just ask to hear, ask to learn, ask to listen, ask for heaven, and only heaven, and it is received. So I think that is all that I really had to say for today on that matter. But that this world that is in chaos and death and sin right now is because we're living in this mind that is separate. It is because we are believing that this is how life is, and then we just have to deal with it, and it's the only way out. But all of us light workers all around the world are waking up and remembering who we really are, and bringing this power of God into this world so that we may live by God's laws and not by man laws. And therefore, as we live by God's laws, we are living like heaven on earth. We are living in perfect peace and harmony and compassion and kindness and humility. And all of these wonderful things that people think that are only in La La Land or in Walt Disney movies or in Dream World, it's reality, people. Anything that opposes reality is a falsity. Our mind is separate from God. It's going to give us thoughts that this is unreality. But it's not true. And therefore we can bring us perfection here if we choose to have it. I choose to have it. I'm living it right now. Everybody around me is living it right now. We are experiencing it every single day. Now it's just up to you to experience with us, and our minds will join in this light and that which we are, and we share this light and this love and this perfect peace and this heaven here on earth together. So that's what I'm doing. I hope you're doing it too. I love you all. If you have any questions, contact me, call me, message me, email me. Let's get together. Let's rock this earth off its socks and allow heaven to be shown, lift the veils of illusion, revealing the truth of how things really are, allowing peace to come to this world, and allow war to fade away, because we recognize that doesn't help anything anyways. We're still living. We are eternal beings. We can't die. So even though the physical bodies die, we're going to have to come back and learn again. So might as well get it over with now, right? I think so. So, on that note, I'm going to say ta-ta, and we'll talk very soon. Love you all. Bye!